I spent the
And I know you're a reporter and stuff. I'm sorry if I come off kind of like, as I see, you're just a person. You're another human being. You're created in the image of God. Like, I would say that it's only the sin of self-love that would ever like lead someone to disregard other human beings that are being mercilessly destroyed. To not even think about that. We'll never talk again. So I just want to shoot straight. But that, I don't know. I would say probably not following Jesus Christ. Right? Do I believe in the death penalty? What about the death penalty? That murderers that are convicted and all that kind of stuff in states that have death penalty should be killed. Yeah, I think that the government, when it is not obligated its authority, has been given the right to punish evildoers. What's funny about it is that they have there's this weird schizophrenia in our culture where the people who think it's okay to like take a vacuum hose and shove it inside the womb of a woman and scrape a little baby into pieces that's innocent, that was just there, they're like maybe conceived in an affair. The people who say it's okay to kill an innocent child often end up being the kind of people who think that we ought to let mass murderers and rapists live out lives watching HBO and jail cells. So I do think that the government is supposed to punish evildoers and protect the innocent. Our government allows the innocent to be destroyed and protects evildoers. So whether our government has the right to enact capital punishment is a whole other question, because I think they've abrogated their authority. A good government that was protecting the innocent, punishing the evil, would, do capital punishment. Like, I think a mass rapist murderer who sits on death row for 20 years and a preborn child who is nothing but an oh crap moment and looking at a positive on a thing, and our society's like, get rid of that baby. Or the rapist is like, you're getting rid of that baby because I don't want your mom to find out that we put that there. Punish that child to death. And then at the same time, like, standing up for some guy who eats people and saying that it's wrong for Memphis legislators to give a chemical injection to somebody who, rapes women and eats their bodies. You've never heard of cannibals?
What are you referring to?
I'm saying that some people are against capital punishment, right?
Yeah.
So there are cannibals and mass murderers who have got lethal injections, right? So Ted Bundy. Yeah, you're familiar. He's a rapist, weird, crazy, sadistic stuff. He was killed by capital punishment. People think that was unjust. It's wrong. They freak out. Because, and I'll call this a theory. I think this is true. I just want you to think about it. It's because we're all so guilty of our own little sins that when we see this other person who's really in trouble, we don't want him to be judged. We look at him and we're like, well, I'm not as bad as him, but if people could see things that I do on the internet while my wife's asleep in the other room, if people could see the way that I've acted toward, like, there are people all over our culture that are doing some horrible stuff. I don't think you would deny that. And whenever they hear of someone who got caught and some judgment that's coming down on them, they want to defend him because they too do not want to be found out. Because everyone's running. Because it's like light has come into the world. There's truth, there's goodness, there's justice, there's love. And men, women, love darkness. And they're looking for corners to hide. They see someone caught, and they're like, man, I don't want to be caught. He doesn't want to be caught. So it's like, it's covering a sin. Now when they see someone innocent, who's going to like, so I go to abortion mills pretty frequently, and you see all sorts of different situations. You see pimps bringing women in and all sorts of situations. It's like, what's the deal? You'll hear it's an affair. They don't want to be caught in their sin. So what happens? You destroy the evidence of the sin. very rare, but I've heard everything pretty much. I mean, all I mean is 3 or 4 years, but you have people pulling people in. There's a young lady over here down doing work with us today. When she was 13 years old, her father-in-law was raping her, impregnated her, took her for an forced abortion, continued to do it, impregnated her again, got her some abortion pills, given it to her. She pretended like she took them. She hid it. She hid the pregnancy from him long enough. By the time she was showing, she went and showed her mom because her mom wouldn't believe that her husband was raping her. He was using abortion to cover up what he was doing. It's a sin. It's sin. And all this sin that we think we're going to get away with, we don't. You know?
And that's Anna, by the way.
Yeah.
Anna Ridge. Yeah, and you know, that sin, one, we don't get away with it now. Even if you don't get caught, it rolls down on some younger, innocent person. A family member, a child, something like that. It rolls down on the innocent. The sins of the fathers are visited upon the children. That's how it happens. But ultimately, God looks at all this sin and He says, I will make it. I will bring justice. I will judge evil. That's why there's a hell. That's why kids know that bad guys deserve to be in trouble and good guys deserve not to be in trouble. We know there's supposed to be justice. That's why all these hypocrites with the little blue squares and the yellow lines that pretend they're for human rights, as if they don't know where humans come from. You like human rights activists?
Yeah.
Is that a thing here where you get like the little equality signs? People, it's for the National Human Rights Organization. You talk to those people and they generally are for abortion. Where do humans come from? Where are humans conceived? I mean, if you can't be a human rights activist. So I pepper that with it in there. You know, it's just hypocrisy. It's sin. It's just our whole culture, and that situation brings us out here to say, guys, look, we're in a mess. You're in a mess. Yes. You may not feel it, you may not see it, but sin, the sin that you commit, will be judged. Because the sin that I committed will be judged. All the evil, all the wicked, everything that's wicked that's done, we judge. I'm a decent guy. I mean, that's kind of hard to say. I mean, I know my heart. I got bad thoughts still. You know, Christ has been working on me. I do not deserve good to be done to me. I've done wrong against the holy God. When I die, I don't deserve to stand before Him. No, He's perfectly holy, and I'm like this really, really spotted, awful thing. But here's the deal. God, I mean, just lying, stealing, killing, cheating, you know, all the stuff that we all do, murdering people in my heart, in my mind, thinking angry thoughts towards people. To us, we think, oh, it's okay to be angry at someone or jealous or whatever. But to a holy God, it's so far away from that. It's just repulsive.
You always believe in that?
No.
Just recently?
No, I was raised, recently in the sense of, I've been following Jesus Christ for like 8 years. But before that, I was a nominal Christian. I was raised by a homosexual father and all this kind of stuff. But I don't want to leave you there, okay? Because
okay.
I'm pressing it on you. The thing is that judgment, God was sort of in a sort of bind because He loved us. He made us. He gave us His image. And He did not want to destroy us. Okay? This is going to sound, I don't want you to see this as okay. He just didn't want to destroy us. He didn't want, that sin had to be judged. He had to make it right. And He said, you know what I'll do? I will go down. I will live among them. I will be sinless. I will be perfect. I will teach them how to live. I will show them how to live. I will be around them. I will be light in the darkness. And all that justice and wrath you can pour out on me, so that we've appeased that judgment, and that anyone who places their faith in me will be redeemed. And the weird thing is, so like, okay, these people are Christians, they're evangelists. When God looked down on the world, first time he looked down, he's like, it's full of violence. He sent a flood. Second time he looked down at the world and he's like, it's full of just violence and wickedness and idolatry, and everyone's living for themselves. No one cares. Even the religious leaders, they don't care. They're still in the houses of widows, and they're making them fatherless pay their tithes. No one cares. He's like, I'm going to go down there through the womb of a young unmarried woman in a culture. She's unmarried and she is pregnant. That's the sort of thing you get stoned for. That's the sort of thing you get shunned for. So the very place where God chose to enter our world is the place where our world says it's permissible to kill children. So all these Christians who are running around kind of indifferent to abortion, they're not paying attention to their own. I mean, this is our faith. That's who we follow. You know, Jesus Christ became an embryo, a human embryo.
Where did abortion come from? Who came up with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we legalized rape and murder, it would happen more often. But if we criminalized child sacrifice, it would happen less often. So, like, murder happens. Someone says, well, we can't have laws against murder. And so we gotta have laws against murder. They're murdering people up in here. Well, we gotta have laws against murder. And someone says, people are gonna murder people anyway. Because people do. I think they would. You know, it's not legal to load people up on ships and bring them across the Atlantic and sell them as property. It's not legal. It still does happen. We criminalize things because we try to bring our laws into concert with the real laws, God's laws,
So, okay,
higher laws.
if abortion was illegal, what kind of punishment do you think a woman should have if she got an abortion and it was illegal?
If they had brought if all human beings were protected by the laws against murder. So whatever it wouldn't be a new law. Roe v. Wade just decriminalized it. Prior was just, you know, if you kill a human, you get tried according to the murder. I guess murder is a federal thing, but then states have certain sort of rights over, like, capital punishment.
Do you think the doctor and the woman should be tried for murder?
In a technical, I mean, it's kind of like a gotcha question. I used to fear it. I was like, they're going to ask me this question and make me look crazy or whatever, because 1 in 4 women have had an abortion. So just so you don't think we are anything for this, like there wouldn't be any retroactive sort of like, okay, let's go get all these women and doctors, their murders or whatever. It'd be like we pass a law saying, if you kill a human being, you will be tried in a court of law. And we would try them exactly the same way. We would stop the sort of like ageist, nonsense of saying, well, some of these humans are very small, or they're a little bitty inside of the womb. So when they're murdered, they're less valuable than whenever a rich white Republican's murdered. You know, you get a rich white Republican who's murdered, owns a business and stuff. You know, the cops go searching for his murderer.
Yeah.
Some kid shot in the street, minority, less likely. Some baby murdered in a mill over around Poplar. No one cares. They think the people holding pictures of the murder are the crazy ones. The society's entirely, it's upside down. It's all mixed up. You didn't write all that down, though. That was all off the record. That's just true.
I mean, I wrote down some what they said.
But I'll just pray that God brings it all up and gets in there and says, come on. What is it?
Katie.
Come on, Katie.
I don't take an opinion on the stuff that I'm writing, so it's just not.
Well, when you're not writing, you do take an opinion.